right, so these are your New Year's resolutions. You want to make $100,000 online. You want to go to the gym and get a six-pack. You want to meditate every single day. Now, do you want to know what the truth actually is? Only 9% of you will succeed. And if that sounds harsh, good. Because I want you to understand the severity of this situation. You say that 2024 will be your year, but most likely it won't be. Now the question is, why are you still doing it? Frankly, it's not your fault. Here's why. There is a war on your time. Dozens of multi-billion-dollar enterprises have all waged war against you, and they won't stop until they win. They won't stop until every last second of your time is spent on their platforms. My friend, there are no accidents on their apps. Nothing is random. Everything is planned, and those billions are all spent to get one thing and one thing only: your attention. You have a limited amount of attention and focus to give. You can't focus on everything. It's impossible. In fact, a recent research that has been published on Science magazine shows that we spend 46.9% of our days with our minds strayed away from the very tasks that we should be doing. That is almost half of your day gone. To what? Simply not being able to focus. I mean, really think about it. How many times have you gone to just check your phone for a second, and the next thing you know, you've spent hours scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, and you don't even mean to do it? That is how they control you. The average person spends 30% more time on their phone today. That means the average person spends 4 hours and 12 minutes on their phone. I mean, let's really put that into perspective. In just a few years, your phone has gone from stealing 12% of your entire day in 2019 to over 17.5% today. If you keep going down this road, you will spend over a third of your entire life staring at a screen. Is this what you want to become an expert at? Do you really want to be that guy? The guy who sends the best memes? Is that what you want to be known for? We both know the answer to that. Now let me ask you a question. What's materially changed to make 2024 the pivotal year of your life? Because let's face it, every year you tell yourself, this is going to be my year. Yet, it never is. You keep letting yourself down year after year. Well, in fact, scratch that actually. You don't just let yourself down, because it's much worse than that. You're letting yourself down, but you're also letting down everyone around you. Your family, your friends. I mean, hell, even your future bloodline. So, my question to you now is, are you going to be a part of the 91% that fail year after year after year?
Underpinning theme of misogyny and about where a woman's place should be, that is the problem in terms of the influence on young men. They shouldn't all be walking around thinking that a woman's place is only in the home serving their men. And that somehow their only thought process each day, women, should be, how do I please my man, not can I get a fulfilling job or any of those things. But no, you stay at home, self-improvement, make yourself look good, obey his instructions, all that kind of stuff.
But Andrew talking about the way that he wants his relationships to work.
He's entitled. He's entitled to what it does.
Advocating and forcing for the whole world to see it his way.
Yeah, but that's the delusion. Because you can say he only wants that for himself, right? And by the way, he's allowed any relationship he wants. But when you pretend that when he says those things, they're not amplified to literally tens of millions of impressionable young men.
But here's why you're wrong.
Then you know that's not true.
Well, here's why you're wrong, because you assume that Andrew Tate, for some reason, in this conversation, is the only influencer in the world and the only people, person people listen to. Because he's not at all.
No,
the internet.
I'm going to tell you, he's one of the most influential.
Yeah, no, he absolutely is, and that's great.
And that's the part of his influence that I think is a potentially malevolent.
Great, and it's wonderful and good, and you don't have to like it. But let me tell you, every force has an equal and opposite force somewhere else. So on X, Elon has now legalized free speech on that platform. So there are differing opinions on every single aspect of life, including how you want to date women, what kind of music you should listen to, what kind of cars are good, what kind of whatever it is. So for every Andrew Tate out there, there's some feminist OnlyFans model who lives in Florida who makes rap music who's saying that men are nothing and men are shit. So the people who are listening to Andrew Tate aren't listening to Andrew Tate, they're listening to the internet as a whole. And I believe Andrew's message is one, overwhelmingly positive, absolutely overwhelmingly positive, and I believe he's a very important mark on that spectrum of opinions that exist out there, because when you delete Andrew Tate, the mean average of people will drift down this toilet of degeneracy and become less like Andrew Tate. He's a professional athlete with a with a completely clean criminal record, by the way, who's massively financially successful, who's kind, who's generous. He runs his own charity. He's the best brother. He's the best father. He's the best uncle. He's an absolutely wonderful man, and I would love to see more men become like him. So I like his opinions, and I like the fact that he's out there.
Tristan Tate.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Honesty, it matters. Like, and the reason I say that is I feel like nowadays you see governments and big organizations do charity. Isn't there enough money to already fix this issue?
Yes, 100%. That's why you realize that a lot of these organizations, these foundations, these nonprofits, they're just schemes to filter money.
They're just scamming.
They're just scamming. So it's a tough situation. That's why you need to do things yourself. You need to build your own nonprofits. You need to build your own missions and your own foundations.
Yeah.
You need to be able to manage the supply and flow of money, which goes back to what I told you in the beginning. You know, I do business with people that I trust. Therefore, if I'm going to run nonprofits, I'm going to run nonprofits with people that I trust. If I'm going to be spending millions of dollars doing things, I need to make sure that there isn't a 25% administrative fee for the United States part of the company that pays out $250,000 salaries. You know what I mean? Because that's a very real thing. So charity work is phenomenal. I'm super involved with it. I think something that I'm passionate about is sponsoring orphans.
Yeah.
It's a very important thing. There's a lot of children that need parents.
I actually want to talk about it. Is that something you're looking into? Like, do you ever want to have a family? Do you want to have kids?
No, not right now. Not right now. I mean, now I need to figure out with artificial intelligence how we can.
Would you ever have a robot baby?
Hey, bro, do you want to? I'll have a robot baby, bro. I'll have a cyborg. I'll have a mini version of myself, a clone.
Do you think cloning is real?
100%.
Because right now, recently, if you guys saw, I'll talk about it. Donald Trump got arrested. What was your opinion on that?
I don't have any opinion. I do not follow. Bro, when I tell you, brother, I'm one of these individuals on the internet that doesn't actually spend time on the internet. So, like, I don't know what's going on. I don't care. Like, I need to figure out how can I do 100 push-ups in a row?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know that sounds insane when the world's collapsing. But if the world's getting truly, bro, what can we do about it?
Nothing.
What are you going to do? Complain on Twitter about the Federal Reserve? You know what I mean? No, I need to focus on how can I get stronger, better, more developed. And people are like, what is he talking about, push-ups? Push-ups is just a philosophical example of pursuing the next thing in your life to develop into a better person.
Yeah.
I'm just focused on that all day. I'm focused on, like, how do I make sure my eating patterns are good? How do I make sure I don't shove my face with Twinkies? How do I make sure I understand what my rights are in this country?
Yeah.
What do you think about Johnny Depp? You think I'm worried about somebody else?
Johnny Depp, his case.
Never, bro, never. So I'm just focused on me, G, leveling up, focused on my own game, focused on my own lane, and hopefully it inspires a few people along the way.
You know, the interest rates are high, houses aren't getting sold. If I were you, man, I would stick to the plan that I had and go figure out how to make money in real estate, whether it's through the arbitrage or taking money that you make from the arbitrage and putting it into investment property that you can kind of diversify your Airbnb and long-term rentals for and go get rich.
Okay.
And what you really want is wealth, man. You really want wealth. And wealth is going to be you having equity in some properties at some point and being able to either sell those or 1031 into something else or never sell them and just let the property go up in value again and again and again while you take the cash flow and the depreciation against your income.
Yes, I understand. Yeah, thanks for clearing everything out. Funny thing, I was actually just door knocking right now for detailing before you called me, so I'm gonna stop that now, I guess.
You're not gonna get rich watching people's car, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Understand what the guy that pulls up with his Mercedes for you to wash it, he's really high up on the totem pole. Know where you are in the food chain, G.
Okay, for sure.
All right.
Yeah, you're right about the people, like my labor is not gonna do a great as good of a job on the G-Wagon as.
No, of course not. You're going to do a great job because you want to make your customer happy and come back. Your guy, he's just there for a paycheck in that business. He's got no future, and he knows it. And there's nothing you can do to paint a picture for him to do better. So, and then you're going to take the brunt of that from the customer. Go build a business where people can be happy and that you can leverage and you can get way at the top of the food chain and make some money.
Yes, sir. Do you know if I go into...
So you would say they would do nothing then, other than tighten up security?
I think if I was truthfully, I'll answer the question. If I was truthfully in charge of Israel, I would have found out how our border was penetrated. I would have made sure that was impossible to do. I would have had large conversations and discourse during that period, which would probably take weeks to ensure that my border was impenetrable because we were at no genuine threat of a repeat attack. And then I would make it clear that there will be some repercussion unless there would be some repercussion unless we can come to peace terms. I don't think
Hamas doesn't want peace.
Of course not. But I'm saying
that's their
fine.
Stated position.
Of course.
So does it mean
okay? You're asking what I do. I would have found out. First things first. I'm a man. So first things first. You fix the problem. Okay. Our border's been penetrated. How do we make sure that doesn't happen again? How did it happen? Internal investigation. Let's make sure the border's secure. Now our civilians are safe. Our civilians are safe, which buys us time. Let's have a conversation and see if we can actually reason with Hamas. If we can't, then there might be some military intervention.
Then what?
But there certainly wouldn't be bombing hospitals, cruise missiling refugee camps. There wouldn't be any of the things that's going on now. Absolutely
You
not.
wouldn't try and attack the people that
No,
did
because
it.
this is a rushed and emotional response. And that's what I would have prevented. I would have made sure as a man I didn't make a rushed and emotional response.
So you'd be more like Neville Chamberlain, trying to do peace with the Nazis and Winston Churchill trying to kill them.
Well,
yeah,
that's an interesting question.
You're an appeaser, not a warrior.
Well, I still think I'm a warrior, but I think that when you're a warrior, you have to be very capable and...
But that's what Neville Chamberlain's view was. We should do peace with the Nazis.
You have to be very understanding of your power, and you have to use it responsibly. And just like I said earlier, when I'm trying to be responsible about what I say to the young men of the world, I would understand as Israel, I must be responsible with my massive military might to make sure I don't kill civilians. And I would sit and try and make a measured response, and I'd be a professional, and I would consider them human beings, and I would secure my border and try and come up with a plan better than, oh no, I'm mad, I'm emotional now, let's go kill everyone. I think that's the wrong response. Correct. I don't think that's the right thing.
We've spent a long time talking. You're going to find out at some stage today or in the next few days whether you're going to get your possessions back. That'll either happen or not happen. But then there's likely to be a trial, and that will determine how you spend the next 10 years of your life, almost certainly, which is a sobering thought for anyone. When you look back on the whole arc of the last few years, you've expressed some regret because of your turning to Islam, your change in your philosophy from a religious perspective. You've acknowledged that some of the stuff you used to do was immoral. Do you look at the journey you've gone on here and think that in a way, notwithstanding the Matrix and everything else, that maybe you yourself could have done things differently to avoid being in this position?
Absolutely. I'm a man and I take absolute self-accountability. You have to, as a man, your superpower is looking in the mirror and understanding everything that happens to you, both good and bad, to a degree is your fault. It could have all been influenced. I could have avoided all of this. I could have avoided the Matrix attacks, I could have avoided jail cell, if you don't like me using that term. I could have avoided all the negative press. I could have chosen to work in Starbucks and just stayed nobody. I made choices that put me in this position. I take responsibility for them. I said things on the internet in a satirical way on videos that got 110 views when YouTube was brand new that I did not expect to become the most viral videos in the world because I didn't expect to become the most famous and known person on the planet. That's all true. I'm not saying I have no part to play in any of this. However, I can still say that I'm completely innocent. I can still say that it's only my fame and notoriety that has inspired the prosecution service to try and even put me in jail in the first place. I can still say that there's some unfair policing in the world depending on your political views. I can still say all of those things while accepting absolute responsibility for the situation I am in.
Andrew Tate, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.